Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. So we have the beginnings of a reversal day here in the most obvious place. Looking over to the left of the S&Ps there, the top of that little congestion. Let's get a little pointer out here, make it easier for everyone. All right. So this little congestion right up there, which is right where I've got this little red area marked up there. And one of the concepts that we always look at is momentum, and looking at how momentum stalls. And it makes 100% sense that momentum stalls at resistance. And this little blast off that happened yesterday, and then it attempted reversal, and then it pushed up to the resistance, and you could see, and the way we do look at that momentum is just looking at the distance between the highs. So this had really strong momentum, suggesting it continue higher. And since it came from this resistance area, it did suggest it could continue to go up. As we look at patterns and say, well, what is the probability of continuation? And one of the ways to measure that is, does it start from an area of major support? And this did. Corrected now down to that major support, then the blast off, and now momentum slows down here. And now we've got this kind of a drift. And so the buyers had their attempt right here to buy it at that bottoming tail bar, and they did. And now it's failed. And now it's broken through this swing low. So we've got a lower high, lower low, and we're into the void, which now opens up the door to a move all the way down here. So the question always is, that's the starting point of a bias. Will it get down there? And of course, that's the unknown. For whatever reason, it could stop somewhere in between. We look at other markets and see if there's any support. So we look at the NASDAQ futures, and is there anything to the left, or was everything a big momentum move that created this void? So there'll be intraday points where things get a little extended to the downside as they begin to accelerate, and they haven't done that yet. You can see the 15-minute chart is just a grinder to the downside, like a slow bleed as it's moving down. Now that it's into here, it could begin to drop quickly, since there's no place else now to bid against what's to the left. So that's the void concept: momentum move, sideways consolidation. And then where's it going to stop? Well, it could be some subjective reference point. I mean, somewhat, Fibonacci retracement level, a trader pivot line, whatever. For whatever reason, institutions will step up and say, hey, you know what, this is a place where I want to get long. But we'll see. And what we would see at that point is, even from the 15-minute time frame, if it accelerates lower, can it retest that, make a W type of bottom, start turning back up again? But considering where it's at, it would be a surprise to see it get back up to the high of the day at this point. But, we'll just follow the charts intraday and see how it all shapes up. But I'm say, because of this void here, well, 2,400 would be where sellers or bearish traders would start to have a very difficult time down here to push it down below that level. And I'm just checking comments. I think the last few days. Okay, so let's go to the NQs. And same story. They came up into resistance. They've been stronger, so they pushed a little further into what's to the left. And, that red area is just what's to the left there. I'm going to say, always look to the left. Just see where there were sellers before and assume they'll show up again. And so what I was talking about it with a W bottom, well, here's an M top. It was going up. It couldn't make it here at that point in time. Deep retracement, retest, came down, and then repaired the damage, and we got that blast off. So now it's just a grinder, to the downside. Same story, and we'll see where it ends up today. Now, if we see it end up, well, 7,300, let's say worst case scenario today would be a move down toward that 73, 7,400. Well, a big red bar deep into there clearly is going to suggest it moves lower. So then, getting down here, who's going to want to short it down here if it falls all the way down and say by 10:30? I don't think too many. And then would probably go pretty quiet for part of the day as everybody tries to assess, hey, are we going to get a big bounce or going to roll back over and go retest the lows, which I don't think we're going to know. Hopefully we're not going to know that until next week. All right, we'll see what today ends up and then get a bias. All right. YM. All right, same stories. We've had the move off of the low, coming up to resistance. Sellers are showing up. Right, makes sense. And so now we'll see how far it goes down. Now, one of the things that many will do, we look beyond what's directly to the left and we'll say, well, here's this minor support point, right? What was resistance becomes support. But we also say that going beyond what's directly to the left is subjective. Now, enough people do the same thing, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that is a reference point that could come into play today down here, and to see, does it possibly hold this? And I'm kind of eyeballing. I guess it's not 50%. I don't know how much it is there, from here to here. I guess it's less than 50%. But that could be the point where it actually finds some stability here this morning. So right in between those two candles right there. And let's just look at the 15. There isn't really much of anything there. Just looking at the smaller time frame. Greg, wake up. Why you telling me wake up? Oh, your fault. You had to refresh the screen. I was like, geez, I've been awake since 6 o'clock this morning. All right. And it's starting to pick up a little steam here to the downside and getting deep into this yesterday's candle. And that move yesterday into the close, it looked like somebody pressed the wrong button, or, just the last gasp to just destroy the shorts. That move yesterday, I guess that's it right there, where it was just kind of quiet, looked like maybe it would roll over, and it just ripped. Right? Powell was talking. All right. So I guess he should have kept his mouth shut. Maybe it would have went a little further, but who knows? Anyway, double topped overnight, and now it's moving down. So look, I guess it's, you could say it's the, buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing. So here they are, 2 trillion going to get floated around to wherever. The Fed got another 4 trillion, there for lending and so on. So now what? I guess the money's got to flow, and buying in anticipation of all of that. I guess the House hasn't put their stamp of approval on there, but it's assumed that they're going to. So we'll see. So now, we'll see as the money starts to flow, what it's actually going to produce. John's asking about 0 day to expiration. Yep. So anything above this level should be good for SPX 0 day to expiration trades. So just based on what I've talked about already, a call spread above here should be fine. You may want to wait to see if it hits this level and bounces back up. Just looking at the ES, we can look at the same thing. Might get a better price there. And 2,500 being a whole number kind of makes sense that there'd be some buyers there with this high, the whole number, as it's, moving down and, hits there and get some kind of retracement. And then we could look to put on that call spread trade, maybe somewhere in this area up here. Right. 2650, I think so. Well, I mean, again, as I said, I'd be surprised to see it get back up to the high of the day, but and to get above it on a Friday, I mean, just doesn't seem reasonable. Uh, so we'll see what it does here. Yeah, 2600. I think I wouldn't get that close. Well, you might. You're McGraw, but for me, I don't think I could. I don't think that would be easy for me. I'm willing to take less for what I perceive to be a sure thing. All right, let's look at the rest of these so we can move on. So the Russell, same story there. It's got the void, nothing to stop it from going down. And so what you can do is, just look at swing high and just whatever you're going to pick, the 5 or the 15. Just, if you start thinking, hey, I think it went down too much. Well, did it violate the trend on at least a 5-minute chart? And you can see as it's going down here, it hasn't done that. It's starting to pick up a little steam. Well, it's kind of a personal choice, Ludwig. Where prices are now, I mean, as you start looking at some individual stocks that are getting shellacked, Uber was one that we were anticipating yesterday. So shorting Uber under today's low, where is it now? 26.23. I don't have my thing here to show me where the prices are. But a break under this low with a stop above the high, I think is a trade worth doing as a swing. So, as we get going here this morning, we're getting this gap down, we'll see the reactions and then assess things as we get into the latter part of the day, as far as holding them over the weekend, which, based on a pattern like this, I think that's a reasonable trade. And we're probably going to find a whole bunch. Oil looks like it's starting to roll over, right? Had its chance here to hold. They're still at that, the prior low area there, but this is where it could have bounced and it didn't. That's a bad sign. Bonds just chopping around here. It looks like a downside shakeout, like they could go higher. And I don't think that's a positive for the market. Bonds going up, oil going down. Gold here just slopping around. Maybe it perks up here. Maybe it'll perk up. Maybe this is enough of a pullback. We'll see. There's a real blast off there. And silver heading lower. It might be a decent short. Right, Alex, you said you were shorting it on this day. I shorted gold and got out of the way when it perked back up. But maybe this is where it rolls a better setup for shorting silver and or gold down below this level here. Break below here probably would be a decent short. And gold, it doesn't have that nice base that silver does. But if it breaks below this 1600, it probably goes lower. And I'm almost done here. Transports, the base, we'll see. Well, it looks like it's perking down here. Everything appears to be set up to move lower. All right. The way these reversals, there's lots of red down here. Facebook is eyeballing down 5.5. Nvidia down right about 7. So some bearish moves starting here. Looks like things are going to go lower. We'll see how low they go and retest maybe the low. Personally, I mean, just historically, I would love to see a break of the prior low, just a little bit, and a giant reversal, which would be a monster buy opportunity, I believe. Historically, that's a great pattern. It doesn't have to break the low. Just I call that, a little bonus if it happens. But some kind of move to retest the low area. And then, it could be a similar pattern with a nice big wide range bar like that, or whatever pattern sets up. Bar by bar analysis will tell us as things set up here. But a lot of things moving down, some things considerably. And, Amazon down 32. So Dan, you should have just a whole Christmas bag full of call spreads here today. We'll see if we can find them. So there you have it, everybody. Well, that's where things look, and we'll see if VIX here starts heading back up as well. Okay, all yours, Dan.
Good morning. Let's go through opens here, see if I've been tightening the stops on everything into the close. Number of things expiring today. Apple, we have a put spread, 235 is a short strike. So it's $16 away. We should be fine. Even if stopped out, it'll be at a profit. AMD expires today, $36. That looks great. Boeing, we covered half yesterday. We have a put spread for next week. Way out of the money, the 80s. CCL. Airlines here, you know, when they were acting weak yesterday, I got a set of RCL break even. Now they're gapping down more. So we actually have a naked put, or well, no, I got us out of this one. CCL, we have a put spread, the 10.5s, still $6 out of the money. Because they started weakening yesterday, and then it was in the journal today that the package, the bailout package, is not going to include cruise lines, which totally makes sense to me. I mean, you've heard me say, I don't think the industry is going away. People love cruising. So do I. But let them file bankruptcy and start over. That's fine. Why do we, Trump is trying to protect American workers, and there's not very many American workers in that industry, unfortunately. I mean, it is.
And I'm sure you read a lot. You read a lot of stuff. I heard them on the news saying they weren't going to give them any money since they're not U.S. companies. And someone in the room said that. Why give them any money?
Right. We've been talking about it for a while, and I said I totally agree with that rationale, and that's what I'm saying. I agree with it now. But the U.S. relies on cruise ship tourism, and all I'm saying is I don't think that's going to go away. You know what? Just interesting thing, Greg. Gustavo sent me this photo when he was flying back from New York with 8 people on board. I don't mean to laugh. Gee, he sent me a picture of the Bahamas, and he said, "Do you see anything interesting there?" I'm like, no, it's all foggy. And it was a bunch of cruise ships all lined up, anchored in the Bahamas. So there are airplanes parked all over the country here, and there's cruise ships anchored everywhere. Hey, G, your drop down. But G just said 10 ships anchored out there. All right, so IWM, we have a directional and a put spread, and I had tightened, we sold half at the high, and then I tightened the stop here to protect our gains. It's gapping under it, so let's move. You know what? I'm still bearish here too. I want to give it a tight leash. So Greg, 5 or 10 minute low. For some reason, I'm thinking 10. I don't know. 5 minute might click it.
If the futures move down to that, like the S&P's down to that 2,500 and start to bounce, wherever it bounces to, if it does that into 10 o'clock, I would just get out of it.
But do you want me to give them a 5 minute low or 30 minute low for the back half right now?
I have to see how it acts,
All right, let me just
see how much it bounces, and we'll see.
Right. So let me just type that to our subscribers. There's that. Yeah, McGraw, so you got to help me find some call spreads today. All right, so let me continue. Lift. We have a naked put, expires today, the 14th, so we're totally fine there. Spice, Greg likes to call it, I call it space. We're short the 10s, those are totally fine. Uber, we're short the 13s. Those are totally expires today. Those are totally fine. WFC, we have the 26, 23 for next week. And that's fine. Now on the swing ladder, cyber, I had tightened the stop. Our cost basis is $87. It's kind of hard to tell where it's trading there. DRI, $15 puts, and the stock's at 57. Wow, what an incredible time we had selling puts in this environment. Fleur finally got itself moving yesterday. We're long stock. Hilton, covered call. Yeah, you look at G talking about airports, ghost towns, flying empty planes. Yep. All right, Hilton is a sell setup. We have a covered call. We've locked in a gain already though. MPC, we're long stock. Oh, this cruise ship, we actually have a covered call. But yeah, that looks bad. RRGB, long stock, and we're just trailing, so we're out of half. They'll be trailed out at a gain. Starbucks, $40 puts expire at full profit today. The old Shake Shack, we're long stock, and that looks fantastic for an ad over the highs. That looks great. And look, I mean, check this out. Look at that. That is a beautiful consolidation trading range in the upper, if you put a flagpole from here to here, it's a whatever. It's a bullish consolidation. But look, it gapped down. It's still in the range with the market gapping down, however, 600-700 points. If that can take out the highs, that's the best looking long I've seen here. Let me put that in a window on my other computer. That's the best thing I've seen so far. All right, almost done. SYF, we're long stock. That's 1624. So, and we sold a third. And so even with the gap down, we're up. We got over $2 of open profit. And finally, this thing finally kicked into the gear. We're long this at 32.36. Let me go ahead and move stop. This looks great also. Let me just tighten it here under 33. So yeah, all our opens are fine. Yeah, RSYF, we're out of half. Let's look at some gappers now. Not really many in terms of earnings and so forth. All right, MIT, a couple of these little guys gapping up. It's no pattern. SDC, Remember this Smile Direct, fairly recent IPO, nasty downtrend. Wow, something got it going yesterday. Today in the paper I read, I don't know if that's what got it going yesterday, but they are going to use 3D printing for some stuff, whatever. I just trade the chart. How would you trade Shack? The spreads on these options have just been horrendous lately. Somebody emailed me about one of our stocks saying, "Hey, why aren't you giving us a bull call debit spread, Pavel?" And I said, look at the quotes. They're like $1 by $5. I mean, just even liquid S&P 100s have been stupid. So Shack, I would just day trade it over these highs. Just buy stock, so you don't have to mess around with that little. Wow, thing gapping way the heck up here. Wow, but no pattern. IVR bottoming pattern, gapping up and coming in. No interest. SAIC. Looks like it's gapping up to 75, although there's no volume there, and things that are up and then gapping up, I'd be selling into a gap up like that. What is this doing? Gapping down, it's a mess. Gapping up 631. Maybe 30-minute high. It's sloppy, but it's a nice gap over all these real bodies. Lulu had earnings 193. Under the pre-market lows, then it could be a call spread for today. KBH had earnings, gapping up, nothing to do with it. Nick, Tosh shows Shack 43.95. Yeah, I mean, you just got to look at level 2. Yeah, it's not, and it could be. Let me see what the level 2 shows. Level 2, 42.68. Yeah, it is gapping down to 43.10. Yep, it's definitely gapping down. 2200 volume. So, don't worry about it. Then it won't trigger. So it's a non-issue. GME 492. I don't know if this was earnings. Yeah, I think this was earnings. Sloppy bottom, but 30-minute high maybe. XOP still can't get off the mat, but that oil sector is sure banged up. 680. I don't know. I mean, I doubt we're going to be able to sell puts on a $5 stock, but maybe 30-minute high that could set up. I think that was earnings. Qualcomm. Bottoming pattern, but gapping down. Triple M, nothing. Oki. Par, these were, yeah, so there's a little W bottom retest. Par over yesterday's high. Then that means it would be negating the gap. So that still looks great. RWT had a nice gap yesterday. EBIX. Still could go higher. Airlines coming in, they were sell setups, RCL. Yeah, these cruise lines are in trouble. And when we were